Going live. Turn on the live chat. All right, so hopefully the live chat will be going, guys. Wanted to real fast jump in and do a quick video. I've traveled. I'm back home in the States for a period of time, kind of visiting and doing some vacation. And right now, working on getting a new computer. So my ability to kind of do all the video editing and things like that is diminished, at least for the moment. So wanted to at least get something going with a live to get something out for today, because I'd normally have a video out for today. And the topic of conversation for me this morning is kind of carrying on from the last video with the comment that there's no such thing as overtraining. A couple of the comments came in on that video, and people kind of added to and said that there is no overtraining, there's only under recovering, which is kind of a common statement hand in hand with that. So I kind of want to unpack that idea real fast, and then obviously, you guys can jump in with your comments and things like that. We can chat for a few minutes, but to kind of debunk the idea that there is no such thing as overtraining, and then people talk about under recovering. Just consider this. So as far as overtraining, like you could take yourself to a point of exertion where you die, right? If you think back to the story of the original marathon, where the running event got its original name, there was a messenger, a Greek messenger, who ran to announce the victory of marathon, right? And I don't know the dude's name, I can't pronounce it. It's like Phidippides, I think is the dude's name. That dude literally ran until he died. So this idea of there's no such thing as overtraining, only under recovering, that individual would have had no opportunity to be able to recover. So I think that in and of itself kind of executes the idea that overtraining really is an actual thing. But in terms of under recovering, again, the recovery is more of a window, right? It's kind of a curve, right? So within a period of time, you can only recover so much. It isn't as though there are additional things that you can do within a 24 or 48-hour period, or even 72-hour period, that can really supremely enhance your ability to recover. Essentially, you eat, you drink, you restore electrolytes, you try to get some sleep. But beyond those things, there's only so much that you can do to recover. So this idea of under recovering is, I think, foolhardy. If you don't push yourself too hard, or you don't push yourself to that point of overtraining, then the recovery thing is not unmanageable. So I don't know. I just there was a few comments that came in onto that particular video that I wanted to kind of unpack that idea, because the recovery process itself, there's only so much that you can do to be able to recover, and you're only going to recover so fast. And the recovery is limited by a number of factors as well. One of those is age. So as you get older, your recovery ability diminishes. So then, as you get older and older, into your 50s and 60s and 70s, your ability to recover from events or traumatic training and things like that becomes significantly diminished. And so there's only so much that you can do in a period of time. Whereas with the training, that's much more scalable or much more manageable. So if you work to only push yourself to a certain point, you can make sure that you can, dial it back and have that appropriate recovery for the period of time that you're looking at. Adam jumps in. Adam says, recovery is the most important aspects of training. Yeah, I totally agree, Adam. The recovery piece, I think, is the critical element to, thanks, Adam. I think recovery is the critical element to training, because it's not what you can do, right? That dude, Phidippides, he ran until he literally died. So it's not how much exertion that you can perform, it's what you're able to actually sufficiently recover from. And I think again, just to kind of recap on that idea, there's only so much recovery that you're able to do in any period of time. It's not as though, you can take, a special supplement or a special, dietary consideration and be able to recover that much faster than any other person. Like, that's not really how that works. And then, like I said, the recovery is kind of a moving target. As you get older, it slows down. If you have certain, conditions or things like that, that can dip into your recovery. So if you're sick or something like that, that can definitely inhibit your ability to sufficiently recover from things. So this recovery piece is kind of a moving target throughout your whole life. even on like a week to week basis or a day to day basis. So it's just something to consider in terms of that whole idea. Like when I hear people talk about that there's no such thing as overtraining, only under recovering, I feel like that's a very bad thing to put out to the masses, because invariably people will pick it up and they're like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. But like I said, if you think about it and you consider the story of Philippides, it does not make sense, and I don't think it holds water at all. So I just wanted to touch base in the wake of the video that I made, talking about the overtraining and talking about my buddy Pump, where he was saying there's no such thing as overtraining. Now, I don't think that Pump generally, actually believes that there's no such thing as training. It was more of a topic of discussion to be able to kind of just unpack some ideas. But it was a good one. So anyway, Isaac's, what's going on, man? Seth, yeah, man, stateside for a little bit. I'll be home for a period of time. Get to hang out with the family, and yeah, it's good. And you're heading out Friday. Good luck to you, man. I hope it's a fast one. Having to roll out the door all the time kind of sucks. Robert, what's going on, man? Eating breakfast on the West Coast. Best recommendations for recovery. Yeah, so things like hot, cold. There is some evidence to support contrast. So if you do like a contrast shower, even if you don't have like the facilities for like a hot tub or things like that, or a cold tub, just taking the shower kind of as cold as you can stand it for a minute or so, and then turning it up about as hot as you can stand it. Kind of just waving back and forth between hot and cold. There's been some studies that indicate that can help with recovery. Obviously, rehydrating, getting electrolytes and everything back into your system. Not overhydrating, because then you can flush out electrolytes if you're pounding too much water. But rehydrating, get electrolytes back in you. Get some food, and then some light movement. I always feel is good for recovery. So if I have a real hard squat session or a real hard session for training, whatever that training session might be, and I have kind of DOM setting in a day later or 2 days later. A lot of times for me, just some gentle movement, not trying to go heavy, but going through full range of motion with a little bit of weight is usually a good way for me to kind of get some blood flowing into the tissue and kind of facilitate recovery. So those are some of my recommendations. A lot of people have some success with, it's called IA stim. So it's instrument assisted soft tissue manipulation. So scraping, it goes by a number of different names, gua sha. So there's been different people doing different things, but essentially it's some soft tissue manipulation. There's been some studies to show that that could be beneficial in recovery. And then it's getting some sleep. I think sleep is one of the best things that we can do for recovery. So if you're on a particularly rigorous training program, or in a particularly rigorous portion of your training program, making sure that you're getting sufficient sleep. Sufficient sleep and sufficient diet are the two of the biggest contributing factors to your recovery and your ability to sustain hard training. So control what you can. There's too many people that aren't sleeping enough and aren't eating enough, but boy, are they willing to go out and buy the newest fandangled supplement so to try to help them with recovery. I think that diet and sleep, are paramount. And if you aren't mastering those things, all the other, tricks really aren't going to work so well for you. Adam, weak yourself for quad tear, squat 3 times that week. Yeah. So, Adam's talking about, pushing too hard. That can definitely catch up to you, man. I feel like, at any point, there is a point of diminishing returns in your training. So there gets to be a point where you've gone too far. And it's a different point for everybody, and that point changes in time, right? So, where that point was for you in your 20s, it might be slightly different for where that point is for you in your 50s. And so, that's kind of why I'm always a big proponent and talk about kind of field-based training. Get a feeling for how how your body's responding, and be very conscious of what your body is telling you. Typically, for me, at least anymore, after having sustained several injuries in my career, I'm not bashful at all about pivoting on a dime. Case in point, yesterday I was squatting with my buddy Z, worked up to a 501 for some fives, but after a couple of sets of that, the groin was feeling a bit wonky, and so I basically wrapped it down as soon as that started feeling weird. So just got to be able to listen to your body and pivot when it's necessary. RD, yeah, man, it's awesome. I'm hanging out. I got my mom and dad over there. Got some time today to do some stuff. In fact, here in a few minutes, I'm gonna rip out of here and go link up with my buddy Z and get another training session in. Got some benching to do. So it's nice to be able to link up with some friends, see my family. This visit was much needed, and I'm very excited about it. Red Beth is agreeing with me about the hot and cold, the contrast. That can be very good for recovery. Alex, I appreciate you finding the live chat, Alex. Appreciate you jumping in. This is if you haven't been to the channel here before, generally speaking, I just try to do what I can to use some experience that I have been powerlifting since the 16 at a fairly competitive level. I think 2017, I cracked into the top 10 308 raw men, so been pretty successful in my powerlifting, and I just try to use that experience and the stuff that I've done in my life to help out as many people as I can. Seth, Thor is all about hot cold recovery and swears by it. The hot cold stuff it is, and funny enough is the Norse peoples, both Sweden, Iceland, Norway, they've been doing a lot of that hot cold stuff for a long time. The sauna is from that location, that area, and a lot of times they would go in the sauna, sweat it out, and then go jump in the lake or jump in the river. So contrast stuff has been used by those folks for a long time. Arno, what's going on, man? I do cold showers every day. You probably need a cold shower, Arno. I feel like a cold shower does a man good sometimes. Tano, opinion on high rep deads, and what if you use a trap bar? I think a trap bar I think one of the benefits of a trap bar is it helps you kind of learn position a bit too, because you can basically have that center of gravity kind of in line with your center of mass versus having that bar out in front of you. And trap bars are good for kind of cueing you to learn to get your hips up underneath you, which is something that I try to tell people when I watch them deadlift a lot. Get your hips up underneath you, because then you basically stack up. But if this is your hip and your hip is way out behind you, it changes that moment arm and makes the lift much harder. So I try to cue to have that, have the hips up underneath the shoulders and try to perform the lift in that manner. So I think trap bars are good for that. Now, in terms of high rep deads, I think the highest reps that I ever perform are something in the ballpark of 12, but not much more than that. There's been some research to indicate, in terms of strength development, you start getting to a point of diminishing returns, after 10s or 12s. It's really not really all that great for strength development. So I tend to stick in the lower rep range with higher weight. So most of the work that I perform with my main movements is, as low as singles when I'm real close to a meet. But typically, if I'm in some kind of a training cycle, I stick to like 3s, 5s, 8s, and like 12s. The 12s would be obviously the furthest away from a meet, where I'm performing, higher reps for, kind of that hypertrophy. But again, going back to that podcast that I told you guys about before with Dr. Brad Schoenfeld, kind of dropping some new knowledge about, hypertrophy and what some of our misconceptions were of it. So if you're not familiar with that, cycle back to that video or go find Dr. Brad Schoenfeld and hypertrophy. You guys can read and hear all about some of the research that he's done, kind of debunking some of that, some of the misconceptions that we have about hypertrophy. So Tano, I hope that answers the question. Adam saw Z's vid. I'll be back for about a month, bud. Get to kind of hang out and chill and have some fun. And I plan on drinking beer, but I really haven't drank that much beer lately. I've been too busy trying to get myself, back on the normal schedule. So I've been really tired at night and waking up at like super early. So hopefully tonight I'll have a chance to have some beers. Devon mentioning Rip Stash. Yeah, man, the wife was giving me hell about it. She was rather insistent that I get rid of it. So what mama wants, mama gets, right? RD, good hope. Hope the pressing goes well. Yeah, Z and I will be doing a pressing session here today. We're gonna head back up to my old work, the Seventh Group compound, and get some training in. So there should be some good stuff to get done a lot of opportunity for accessory work, and I have some time today too. So one of the problems that I have most in terms of performing accessory work is time. I always end up burning myself out of time. So today I hope to be able to get some of that done. Alexander, what's going on, man? Yeah, I recognize the name Suarez. You don't have to refer to me as Sergeant on the goddamn YouTube, brother. Oh, congratulations on your own leave. Are you sticking around the pen, or did you get off pen? And yes, I am very much enjoying myself. Arno, have a nice time with your family. What are you talking to us? Oh, why am I talking to you guys? Because I wanted to get a video out. You know, I'm working on. If you guys check this thing out here, so this is my new computer, right? So it's I'm very excited about being able to kind of increase, you know, or step up my game for the video production. And one of the things that I did is I made the investment to buy a new computer. So what I bought was this new Dell XPS 15. It's got the iCore 9 8th gen processor in there, so a powerhouse of a processor, 32 gigs of RAM, terabyte steady state hard drive, and some kick-ass NVIDIA graphics card. So hopefully this will help me kind of step up my editing game, because the computer that I was using was this guy, and it's a little HP guy. You know, got my stickers from all my different stuff on here. But this computer, although it's real great and been reliable, well, it's been good to me at least, was having a real hard time managing the videos from the new GoPro. So when I upgraded to my new GoPro, the video quality is so dense, there's so much data there that computer was having a real hard time processing it in terms of being able to render videos. So the rendering process took just a phenomenal amount of time. So I had the opportunity to invest in a new computer, so I'm hoping that the new computer will help me make, you know, more professional edits, and do things faster, so that I can bring better quality videos to you guys. But I haven't set everything up yet, so that's why I just figured I'd go live and do a video to get something out today, because I usually do a Wednesday release. So that's why I'm talking with you guys. Arno, Seth, the stash will never be forgotten. Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, I didn't mind it, but I got to be honest with you. I really did grow it out just to be a goon. So, you know, whether I have it or not is almost inconsequential to me. Cold bath, guys. Look up Wim Hof. Wim Hof. Okay. Arnold's talking about Wim Hof for the cold baths. RD, no stash. Just noticed. Yeah, man. I did a video today. I had some copyrighted music playing in the background, so I'll probably have to do some audio over it, or some music over it. But my daughter, my little girl, helped me shave my mustache today, and then my wife polished it up. So they ganged up on me and made me shave it. So I'll probably do a death to the mustache video on the YouTube channel at some point in time. Devon, hot and cold, do for a while. Then you get it knot. Oh, when you get a knot, they can't get rid of. Yeah, you know, there's also, if you guys are into the recovery piece and you haven't looked up Donnie Thompson for body tempering, that's a really good thing too. There's been a lot of success with Donnie Thompson and his body tempering. I like that because, you know, in terms of, you know, foam rolling and working out knots and you know, kind of diffusing the tissue. I like the body tempering because it's an implement laying on you. So you're not relegated by how much pressure you can put on any certain point, and you can relax while it's happening. So, you know, implement is set onto you, onto your calf or your quad or wherever, and it just sets there and it, you know, compresses. So you get that compression, you know, that's very consistent, and can compress the tissue like right down to the bone. But it's not like a superficial compression. It really does work. So if you guys haven't checked out Donnie Thompson in terms of the recovery, check out his body tempering. There's a lot of cool stuff there. Tano, how much does drinking interfere with recovery? I think that generally speaking, most scientists would probably tell you that drinking is definitely, I guess, contraindicated for recovery, right? So drinking does not necessarily help recovery. Although I think maybe like just one drink, if you were, you know, one drink can be good because it can help, you know, dilate the blood vessels It can help relax you a little bit. And I think that from a mental standpoint, being able to relax and decompress has a lot to do with overall recovery. So even if you're home and you're just sitting in a chair, if mentally you're all wound up and spun up over something, I think that can really dip into that reservoir of recovery. So, if you were able to sit and have a drink and kind of unwind and relax and actually really, take that deep breath and woosah and relax, I think that could be very beneficial. But, college binge drinking would probably be very detrimental to recovery. But also, I also want to caution everybody in terms of like talking about what's good or what's bad. In a lot of instances, when people are talking about you should not do this or you have to do this in terms of recovery, some of those advices are really aimed toward the top 5% or the top 10% of athletes, right? Because the best athletes, the things that separate those folks from one another are really some of the smallest, most finite details. Nutritional information or nutritional requirements. Even just changing a little bit of their nutrition can have an effect on them. Even dipping into just a little bit of sleep can have an effect on them. So I think that when we're talking about what we have to do or what we cannot do, a lot of that is really aimed at the best of the best of the best. Whereas, an average athlete who is not trying to compete for the Olympics or is not trying to be the creme de la creme, I think that there's a lot of stuff you can get away with, either doing or not doing, and ultimately the net effect on your overall performance will probably be very little. The net effect for the difference of doing or not doing certain things would probably only become palatable or noticeable when you're like the best of the best. So just consider that. So in terms of drinking and whatever else, in terms of how I approach things, I like, in my mind, the point of being alive is to live and enjoy myself. So I'm more fixated on enjoying myself than I am anything else. So if having a couple of drinks with my friends or having a couple of drinks here at the house with my family or whatever is going to make me happy, then I'm going to do that irrespective of what it could or couldn't do for my performance. I'll just deal with the consequences as they come. But that's kind of how I tend to look at it. Timmy jumping in and saying hi. Hey, Timmy, what's going on, brother? Seth, shaved my beard recently to do something different, but the wife doesn't mind it when I have it. Yeah, my wife has got like super sensitive skin, or so she says. I think it's just bullshit. But yeah, she really doesn't like it when I have too much facial hair because when it's short like this, it's super rough and it bothers her. And when it's a little bit longer, it gets softer, and so she doesn't tend to mind it. But with me being active duty, I never really have that much of an opportunity to grow it out so that it's long and soft. Arno dipping out, man. Arno, it's good to see you, man. I hope you're well. Thanks for stopping in, and I'll talk to you soon, brother. RD, definitely don't drink a fifth of vodka and expect not to be dehydrated. Yeah, I think definitely, so if you do some heavy drinking, it can have some detrimental effects on your training. Although I do have to say, some of the best training sessions I ever had were some hungover training sessions. I don't know why that was. It just was. I woke up, I was hungover, made it to the gym, and had an amazing session. I think and sometimes hit PRs, but it's not always the case. Sometimes that's the exception. Alexander, left pen, back home for a bit. Much needed. Yeah, I bet, bud. Well, I hope that you enjoy the leave and, have some time off to hang out with loved ones and do things that'll make you happy, man. We'll have to reconvene on the other side back in the pen and we can commiserate about how much we hate the pen. Not that I hate the pen. I just hate being on the pen without the family. That's probably more true. Being in the pen would be too bad if I had the family there because they could bebop around me and do stuff. But certainly being relegated to the barracks and not having a car and having to eat out of the DFAC and all that other stuff that has some significantly psychological detrimental effects for somebody who's 36 and been living on their own for quite some time. It feels like a lot like moving back in with mom and dad. Although I got to be honest with you, moving back in with mom and dad would be way cooler than being in the bees and all that other stuff. Living with mom and dad was the shit. looking at my mom over there smiling. So we're gonna hear from mom and dad real fast. We're gonna hijack them because why not? All right, so we're talking with YouTube. We're live. This is mom and dad.
Hi.
So if I was gonna move back in with you guys, would that be cool? Would it be cool to move back in with mom and dad?
Dirty laundry all over again.
We'd expect you to chip in on the groceries.
Yeah, the steak we could take care of.
they want me to contribute on the grocery bill. This is bullshit. Mom and dad are supposed to love me unconditionally.
We do.
And you'd have to buy your own supplements.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
All right, guys. I'm probably gonna wrap it down. I still got to go to the gym and link up with Z and get a good training session in, and I got a bunch of other stuff going on today too. I just wanted to drop a line and drop a comment about some of the stuff that I'd seen comment-wise in the video about there's no such thing as overtraining, and kind of want to unpack that idea because I really genuinely disagree with the idea that there is no such thing as overtraining, only under recovering. I feel like that's a pretty bad thing to say and throw out on the internet because like ultimately people will accept it and take that at face value, and I wholeheartedly disagree, as I had previously mentioned. Seth is jumping in. He says he wants to say hi to mom and dad. You gotta get out of here and pack up shop and head back stateside, or getting ready to head back stateside. That's awesome, dude. Well, when you get back stateside, have fun with the family, enjoy it. I hope the travel's pretty easy for you, man. Thanks for checking in, Seth. So yeah, unless anyone's got any last minute comments to throw in, questions, comments, or concerns, I'm looking to sign this off and get myself ready to go to the gym and link up with Z. So that's my plan of action. Yeah, hopefully Red Death. Hopefully I'll have the computer up and my video editing software loaded onto it. I'm gonna try to do some playing with it tonight to see if I can get some video strung together. So I might do kind of a test. Excuse me. Might do kind of a test tonight and potentially have a video out later just to see how everything renders. Because if it's not, I bought a refurbished computer because it's a little bit cheaper. So if there's any problems with it whatsoever, I'm gonna end up sending it back. But I'll do tonight as a test bed potentially and try to get another video out. Let's see what else we got. Cool. All right, guys. I think that's gonna be it for now. Always feel free to check me out on IG. If you kind of want to see what I'm up to on a more of a day-to-day basis, definitely check me over there at Brad_Arbic. And if you guys want me to see your stuff as you're posting on IG and whatever else, don't forget to do the hashtag train despite and or just tag me on your videos. And that's a good way for me to be able to get to see what it is that you guys are up to because I check IG pretty regularly. Yeah, going forward, if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, other stuff coming up that I can help you guys with, make sure to leave a comment somewhere. Let me know what your questions are so that I can, maybe either just type back or I can do a special video for you guys to respond and hopefully be able to help you out. We're going to sign this one off, guys. Appreciate you watching. Yeah, thanks. Remember, guys, no matter what it is you think you can't do, train despite. You're either going to find an excuse or you're going to find a way. And I hope that you guys continue to find that way. I appreciate you guys watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.